Hi, Dick Wagner here. I want to talk to you today about what you gain when you have trust. And I'm talking trust pretty much specifically from a client or a prospect. It's a really big deal because if you don't get any respect, if you don't have trust, you aren't going to get a referral. You're not going to get a job. Okay. So, when you create trust with clients, many positive things happen. Simple as that. But you can't build trust unless or until you demonstrate that you're credible, that you're believable, that you're consistent. And I don't mean consistent like I showed up there every month for 12 months, 12 times in 12 months, so I'm consistent. That by itself does not build trust, it does not build credibility. It might have a bit of reliability involved, but that really doesn't cut it. So, how do you know if they trust you? Remember that we earn trust, we can't buy it. We have to consistently do and say things that show our credibility and our interest in them. And we ought to look for signs of trust from our partners, from our referral partners, from our prospects, from our clients. A relationship that includes trust leads to long-term business. It increases your opportunity with that client, and that client should be willing to recommend your services for them and for their other business associates to potential clients. No marketer would survive very long if all they did was push and badger the client into giving them one referral. It's been a long-term, repeated referrals that make you successful. And yeah, okay, granted, even when they're reaching for your advice, they might even ask for something as bizarre or as crazy as, where can I buy mulch? Where can I buy a copy machine? You should want them to think of you as top of mind. You want to be their go-to or their trusted advisor. They should call you and ask you some really off-the-wall questions. That means you have arrived at that trusted advisor status. They're more likely and more inclined to accept your recommendations and then act on those recommendations. There are rewards to be gained from them accepting and acting on your recommendations. Those rewards specifically are referrals. When they act on your advice, just a straight up conversation where they trust you enough to ask for and then accept your advice, even if it isn't about, oh, you should be referring us, they're more likely to refer you because they accept your advice or your recommendations. They're going to bring you in on some more strategic issues. Bottom line, when they trust you, they have confidence in you. And then they're going to trust you on even bigger things. the more you can demonstrate to the client that you know and you understand their issues and their business, the more they're likely to include you or even strongly defend you. You want to treat them the way you want to be treated because you're more respectful to them and you're truthful to them. They tend to do the same. It's kind of like that, we all learned it 50 years ago, 40, 30 years ago, 100 years ago. Do unto others. Yep, do unto others. That's really hard to do when they piss you off. But you've got to do that. You've got to treat them with respect, no matter what. The more you treat them with respect, the more they're going to respect you. Being respectful toward others is just one part of the puzzle. You also have to have respect for yourself. You respect them, they respect you by having transparency and integrity and honesty. It goes both ways. You've got to share more of their business info with them and help them understand that you understand their business, their pains, their dilemmas, their challenges, their headaches. By becoming their trusted advisor, which you're not going to get until you earn some trust, until you have some believability and credibility, until you have that trusted advisor status, they're not going to share much of their business information with you. The more you have of that support and credibility and believability, the more they're going to share. They're going to allow you to know what their needs are, what their pain points are, what their headaches are. If you know some of those, you can offer solutions, suggestions. And it doesn't always have to be, oh, you had your client or your policyholder had a flooded house. We can help. That isn't what I'm talking about. Those things will come automatically when you do all the rest of the things right. They're going to be willing to share more of their personal info. I have marketers, or I have had marketers who in the past used to tell me, oh my gosh, I know they're going to eventually give me a job because they told me all about their puppies and all about their kids and all about soccer practice. And so they're telling me all of this personal stuff. I know they're going to give me a job. And you know what? Month after month after month after month, they don't give them a job because they're just doing soft, idle chit chat. There's no credibility. There's no believability. But if you're liked and trusted, you're going to learn about their family and their likes and their dislikes. And then the more of that you know, the more you can cater to their needs. But that has to come after you have trust and believability and credibility, after you have built the relationship. That's when you're going to start getting legitimate personal info. Probably the more trust you have, the deeper the relationship, the more likely you're going to get word of mouth referrals. They're going to tell their friends and their business associates, to do business with you. We all want and we welcome referrals. When they trust you, they're going to refer their business associates to you. It's a natural progression from the point where you start the relationship with them based on credibility and believability and ultimately trust. One of the other cool things that happens is that it lowers the level of stress in your interactions. And by that, I'm talking about the stress level when you're in front of them in their office or in a meeting with them. There is stress. No matter how you want to cut it, there's going to be stress, initially at least, until you have built believability and credibility and trust. Until you've built the relationship, there's going to be stress. So the quicker and the faster you can build the relationship, the quicker you're more comfortable in each other's presence, you're going to have less stress. And you know what? It suddenly makes your job a lot more fun, a lot more interesting when there's less stress. And you're going to have a better conversation. When there's trust and the relationship gets built, the overall stress level of the interaction is reduced a lot. Makes life easier for everyone. And you know what? We all have screw ups. We all have mistakes. We all have oops moments. When you or your company drop the ball, you make a mistake. If you have a good relationship with the client, you're not going to be ostracized. You're not going to get fired. You're not going to be told, get out and don't come back. I'm never using you again. They usually give you the benefit of the doubt. It's kind of like the deeper your relationship is, the more chips or the more plus points you bank with them. And so when you ultimately do drop that ball, they're more forgiving. They'll forgive you when you make the mistake. You're going to make it. I hate to tell you, you're going to make it. If you're always on the ball and you go year after year without making mistakes with that client, your company is going to. Your company is going to do something that stepped on that client's toes, or something that stepped on that client's customers' toes, or that client's policyholders' toes. You're gonna, or your company is going to make the mistake. If you make that mistake, or your company makes that mistake, they're probably going to forgive you. At least, you can't do it over and over and over, but on one mistake, on one oopsie that you immediately fix and correct and apologize for and humble yourself over, they're probably going to forgive you. You need that bank of positive points, and you only are going to get that when you have a good relationship. And you know what? Many insurance carriers demand that their agent use a preferred vendor. But often that vendor that the carrier, the actual insurance company, wants the claim or the policyholder to use, or you to recommend, they're terrible. They're pathetic. And the insurance agent doesn't want them taking care of their policyholder. And so they'll defend you, assuming you're not the preferred vendor, but you're doing work for them when you're doing a really great job and you have the relationship with that client, you have their trust, they're going to defend you. I have been in situations where insurance agents have defended the contractor to the adjuster who was mad because they used that vendor instead of the preferred vendor. You know what? They're going to defend you. They're going to support you because you've done a good job for them. You've treated them right. They've treated you right because of that. They'll often defend you and insist that you're the only contractor that they're willing to use because you're the only one that consistently, routinely takes care of the client and makes the client or the policyholder the hero, or the insurance agent the hero, or the plumber the hero. You don't have to be the hero. It's what we talk about in our classes about the summary move. Years ago, when you were in high pressure sales situations, it was called, the elevator pitch. Today, as a marketer, you don't want an elevator pitch. You want a summary move. You want to give them something, your initial move that makes them feel relaxed, drops the fence, lowers the gate, is more receptive to you, don't feel there is any tug of war going on. And so that means they're going to defend you to the carrier, to the adjuster, even sometimes to the homeowner. They're comfortable and they let you be comfortable. I said this earlier. There's a lot less stress. If they become comfortable with you, it enables you to be comfortable with them. And I don't mean comfortable lax. I don't mean comfortable sloppy. I just mean you're you. You're being you. I have a marketer that I know in Columbus, Ohio, who is just so relaxed and so calm with her clients, partly because they're comfortable with her. She's very confident. She's extremely caring about them. Her whole focus as a marketer is to help her client succeed. You've got to trust your instincts, and you've got to trust their instincts. It's harder to do that, but if you trust your instincts and the suggestions that you want to make, it's kind of like it falls into that women's intuition thing. And I don't mean to say that it's a sexist thing, that it's only women can have that. The fact of the matter is that most of us are fairly intuitive, and most of us generally use good judgment. And emotional intelligence really comes into play here. Once you build that trust, they'll listen to what you have to offer, and very, very likely, without you even begging for it, because you don't want to, they're going to refer you using stories of past successes you've had with past clients and customers. That becomes extremely valuable. Marketers that understand how to gain the trust of their clients and cultivate long-lasting relationships with them, they're very likely to be successful. Most of the route marketers and route marketing clients that the Crest Network and I coach, they're top producers. Many of them started out with almost no referrals. I mean, maybe one a month or two a month. And that's really tough. That's scary on the part of the owner. But you know what? After working with them for a year, most of them are well on track to do $1 million. And I've got a couple of them well on track to do $2 million in a year's time and generating revenue for their company. They are top producers. We're very, very pleased to have helped coach them and guide them and provide ways for them to be successful. Building client trust can't be accomplished by using tricks, by doing shortcuts. You can't shortcut earning the trust process. You can't create a shortcut to believability or the credibility. There are very specific ways to establish believability or credibility. One of those ways is to leave a Maven article from our Crest Maven library every single visit. That helps build credibility and believability, but that's not a one visit thing. That's 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 visits. Start by making your client a number one priority. If you can't make them the priority, you shouldn't be in this business. Remember that building trust has to be a genuine and a sincere effort where your credibility is unquestioned and you make it all about them and all about their business. It's just as simple as that. So many of the marketers that attend our classes, or so many of the marketers that I start coaching, actually say to me, oh my gosh, I just want to learn everything there is to know about water damage and how to suck up water and how to do mitigation and all about mold cleanup and fire restoration. And they're shocked when I tell them that's secondary. You don't need to know that. You need to know about the client and the client's business and the client's industry, the client's pain points, the client's problems. That's what matters. When you make your client your number one priority, everything else falls into place. I'm Dick Wagner. Thanks so much for signing up and listening today. Along with co-founder Bill Giannone, we appreciate your interest and your support. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.